Hello friends, welcome to Lukman IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 1st June 2021. Let us see which are the important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Yes, these are the important articles for mains purpose and for prelims purpose. Let us take overview first of all these articles, then we will discuss them in detail. First, ending encryption. So on page number 6, this editorial, it is talking about again the tussle that is going on between the government of India and WhatsApp, and the WhatsApp company has filed the suit against government of India in Delhi High Court. So what are the concerns that have been expressed by the WhatsApp over the new IT rules 2021? We are going to discuss them again. Yes, there will be some repetition, but this is important. Then the Indian model of coexistence. The context of this article on OPED page, it is talking about a sustainable, solvable solution for Palestine-Israel conflict that is going on, and Indian model of peaceful coexistence is a sustainable solution to resolve that conflict. The writer is providing the way forward here. We will understand that from ethics as well as GS2 paper IR section. Then for prelims purpose specifically, Justice Arun Mishra likely to be head of NHRC. So recently high powered panel met to appoint the NHRC chairman and its member. Yes, so NHRC from polity perspective, constitutional, statutory and important other bodies and the organizations of the government, they are important. We are going to take input here from prelims perspective here. Then thousands of Rohingyas protest at Bhashan Char. So yes, Rohingyas and the refugee issues, that is important for GS4 paper, ethics in international relations. Along with that, we have to understand geography mapping perspective, Bhashan Char islands. Which are these islands, the location and why they are many times in news because of the location of these Rohingyas by Bangladesh government. We will try to understand that and find out the location. Lastly, some COVID-19 related developments at national and international stage. We are having daily follow up on them, and finally daily practice prelims MCQs that we are providing on today's The Hindu current affairs. Yes, let us go into details. First, ending encryption. The context of this editorial on page number 6, it is talking about the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Media Ethics Rules 2021 and its implementation, the concerns raised by various social media platforms, especially WhatsApp social media group, has filed the suit against Government of India, okay, in Delhi High Court. In Delhi High Court recently. You need to know some background here. Background is that in February 2021, these new rules were notified under IT Act 2000. These are rules for intermediaries, social media platforms along with digital media. Basically, it brings some grievance redressal mechanism and ethical code for these social media platforms. Up till now they were not regulated by any kind of rules or regulation. Now they are being regulated under these rules, and some kind of compliance mechanism is required from these intermediaries. Okay, so last date of implementation and compliance was 25th May 2021. Okay, so now the government of India has given 15 days to provide the compliance report by all these social media platforms to the government, whether they are complying, how they are complying, the mechanism and all. This is the background. Okay, now let us try to understand what are the concerns raised by WhatsApp company regarding these IT rules. Yes, on Sunday's newspaper we discussed this in detail. There was one article on FAQ page on Sunday's newspaper. It was talking about the tussle between WhatsApp and government regarding these new IT rules. Again, we will try to take input. Some new information will be also added. Yes, WhatsApp contentions. First, threat to right to privacy. So here we have to understand that WhatsApp company works on, or its platform works on end-to-end encryption technology. End-to-end encryption. That means the conversation between the sender and receiver, that is completely secure with this technology, end-to-end encryption. The third party, including WhatsApp, does not know about what is the information that is being shared. So this is how these platforms ensure the privacy of its users, and then their conversations. So what WhatsApp is saying here, that the clause of traceability, under these IT rules, which talks about that these large social media platforms are supposed to provide or find out the originator of particular content when asked by the government order or court orders, competent court orders. Okay, so this traceability provision under these rules will need to decrypt this end-to-end encryption and that content. This affects right to privacy of the individuals. First argument that is provided by. Now, there are also chances of human rights violation. How this human right violation may happen? Because what happens is, many times the people, or we can say innocent people, those people who are sharing the information on this social media platform without knowing the seriousness of that content, and those innocently forwarded messages, the originator, that innocent person, may be charged by the government and falsely implicated also. So to some extent it is human rights violation also. Along with that, we have to also understand, without safeguard there is a huge scope of misuse. Why scope of misuse? Because yes, government orders can be on the vague grounds in future, and without any, let's say, strong Supreme Court or High Court oversight over the implementation of these rules or this particular provision of traceability, there is further scope of misuse, arbitrary use by the government of this provision. Okay, so though the recent release by the IT ministry of the government has said that this provision will be used in certain cases only, whenever there is threat to public order, law and order, or there is child pornography is there, or there is some kind of trafficking going on of women and children. In such cases there will be let's say order by the government to decrypt certain information to find the originator. Okay, so yes, though the government is saying that at present these will be the grounds, but it is again not exactly saying that these grounds will be there and not others. Okay, so yes, in future there are chances of misuse. At the same time, WhatsApp is also saying that the traceability may not be useful and effective. Why WhatsApp is arguing that it may not be effective? Because many times, or we will say that majority of times, the people copy the content from websites or any other such platforms on internet, and then we can say forward it to their peers, family members, okay, so, or friends. And we can understand that if that person is now traced as a originator, but that is not the person, or we can say that the originator of that content, the content may be copied from the internet also. Okay, so yes, that traceability may not be that much effective, we can say here. Along with that, the important argument here, that is already there is legal mechanism under IT Act, like this section 69, very important, section 69(3) of IT Act and rules 17 and 13 of 2009 surveillance rules. According to these rules, the government of India already can ask these social media platforms to trace the origin of certain content or decrypt certain data. Okay, and these WhatsApp company or all these social media platforms are already have having this in-house mechanism to provide such kind of data to law enforcement agencies of the government, right. So, if already such legal provisions are there, then why such burden, additional burden is there put on these social media platforms? Okay, so these are the arguments. However, we have to also understand that why the government of India is bringing this. Basically, there is Puttaswamy judgment, Puttaswamy case judgment. It held that right to privacy is a fundamental right under Article 21, right to life. It was recognized as fundamental right. Along with that, there are some two aspects. First is that it is not absolute. Supreme Court itself has said that it is not absolute. Okay, this fundamental right is not absolute. Second aspect is that the test of proportionality should be used by the government whenever this right to privacy is to be violated. Okay, so test of proportionality, that means there is no alternative except this finding or using such kind of platforms to find the originator of the content. In this particular case, the test of proportionality will be used by the government. Government is also saying that no fundamental right is absolute, there are some reasonable restrictions. Basically, it is in line with this Puttaswamy judgment of Supreme Court. Okay, this is also the argument you need to be aware about. Fine. Now, as a way forward, what you can say here is first, is the traceability provision can be relooked by the government, and concerns of social media platforms should be also accommodated here. The second here is the larger reforms that are required. Revisit IT Act. Now, IT Act 2000, now almost 2 decades have elapsed, and we need to update this IT Act. We need to update this IT Act. We can take, let's say, from some inputs from international examples, good international examples of such laws, especially of Western countries, European countries. We can take some inputs, we can update our IT Act. And third thing, we need to fasten the enactment of Data Protection Act. The government should consider this Personal Data Protection Act. Okay, so this Personal Data Protection Act is very important. Unless and until we do not have the legal backing for data storage and data use, such kind of rules surely they are bound to be misused in future by the third parties. They are bound to be leaked in future, and therefore the legal protection and the grievance redressal for the people is very, very important. Such kind of Data Protection Act should be in place at earliest. This should be the way forward you should mention. Now, what kind of question we are expecting? Critically analyze the provisions of IT Act, IT Rules 2021. So, you can analyze, just now we discussed all these aspects, you should be aware about the government's argument also, along with that the way forward also you can mention like this. Now, moving on, next article, Indian model of coexistence. Okay. Now, the context here is that the recent eruption of violence between Palestine and Israel the conflict that is going on for long period of time, let us first try to understand the evolution here, brief history of conflict. Then we will understand the hard realities that are to be accepted by both Israel and Palestine. And lastly, the way forward given by the writer as a solution, Indian model of democracy and secularism to solve this conflict. So, first thing, the brief history. So, let us try to understand the important, we can say according to timeline, important events. First, 1948. What happened here is Britain gave up the mandate of Palestine. This paved the way for UN to form two states or two countries, we can say, of Jews and Muslims. Jews and Muslims with area divided as 55% and 45% respectively. 55% for Jews, 45% for Muslims from that earlier Palestine, that territory. However, this particular solution never was implemented. The Jews formed Palestine immediately with the help of their resources. Jews formed Israel, not Palestine, Israel immediately, but Palestine, because of lack of resources available, they could not form the Palestine as separate country from that area, and some kind of opportunistic behavior by a group of Arabian countries, they attacked Arab countries like Syria, Egypt, attacked Israel. Okay, so Israel defeated armies of Arab countries. Okay, and it not only took over some of the area of this Palestine, but also took. Okay, so yes, there was a 6-day war in 1967. There was 6-day war in 1967, and in this war, it has not only occupied the areas of Palestine, but also from Golan Heights from Syria, and Sinai Peninsula of Egypt. From this, Israel established itself as a strong power in the region. Okay, so this is how the unfolding of events happened. Basically, there is at present the violence is going on because of the conflicting claim over East Jerusalem city. East Jerusalem city, which is, we can say, having some ancient structures, temples, mosque. Okay, so it is important for three communities: Jews, Christian and Muslims, and largely the conflict is between Jews and Muslims, okay, in that area. So yes, earlier in the Hindu analysis we discussed about this East Jerusalem city and the cultural aspects involved in that conflict. Now, after understanding the sequence of events, what we have to understand that the conflict is such, there are some complexities involved in this conflict, and it cannot be resolved unless accepting, understanding and accepting hard realities. What are these hard realities? First thing, the Muslim dominated territory or the Palestine region or Hamas, that should understand that Israel is not going to give up the land that is acquired and ruled by the Israel for that long time period. Along with that, Israel should understand that the complete subjugation, dominance over the Muslim territory, or we can say the Palestine and this occupied territory, is not going to be helpful, or there will not be peace in future. Such kind of extreme domination is not in favor of Israel also. And that's why the sustainable solution lies in secularization of process. Secularization of process. And the writer is providing as a way forward or solution Indian model of democracy and secularism. Peaceful coexistence. A very important, we can say, cultural value, Indian ethos, that India has been continuously promoting at the world stage also. Peaceful coexistence, one of the very much important policy or the tenet of our foreign policy also. It was one of the tenet of Panchashil, India-China Panchashil doctrine, we can say that. So peaceful coexistence is very important. So in this manner, what happened in India? India has huge diversity in terms of languages, religion, ethnic diversity. We can see in Northeast India a huge ethnic diversity is present, and because of ethnic diversity, religious diversity, linguistic diversity, earlier there was many such conflict that happened in India, but later on, we can say after independence or the freedom struggle and then independence, we adopted Indian Constitution, which promotes this secular democratic values, and now we have to some extent the peaceful coexistence of all these communities together. Now such kind of diversity accommodated in one country is not present anywhere in the world. And the writer is saying that the two communities or three communities from that region, Palestine and Israel, they can live in a peaceful coexistence if they adopt India's way of living. Okay, so accommodating different views, religions, languages or ethnic diversity, some kind of tolerance towards different views, religious aspects is very important so as to have peaceful existence. So that's why writer is saying that the two-state solution for Israel and Palestine conflict may not be implementable in near future, and the international bodies as well as these two countries should look for one state solution like India. So such kind of democratic and secular country which accommodates Palestinians, Israelis together along with Christian community also living in that region. So this will ensure the peaceful coexistence of all communities in one country itself. Okay, so yes, the idea is good, but we can say that it may not be implementable also at present, but surely the violence should be first brought down, and the secularization of the process, non-violent and secularization of the process for solving this conflict is very important, and then such kind of proposal can be put forward. So what kind of question? India presents a model of peaceful coexistence for Israel. Comment. Simply comment means you can take any kind of stand here. You can take like let's say stand in favor of this statement. You can also criticize this stand that it is not possible at all, something like that. But always try to take balanced opinion here. Okay, because India has been continuously promoting this peaceful existence principle all over the world. Fine? Okay. Now, prelims related development, Justice Arun Mishra to head NHRC. Okay, yes, he is likely to be the new chairperson of National Human Rights Commission after high-powered panel recommendation committee proposed his name. Now, this is important for prelims examination. Some of the important constitutional and statutory bodies, their composition, then appointment process, qualification, tenure, term, removal and functions, powers, all these aspects are important, right. So, let us try to understand about NHRC. First thing, it is statutory body, not constitutional body. What is difference between statutory and constitutional body? Constitutional body is created according to some provisions in constitution itself. For example, CAG, article 148 provides for establishment of CAG office. So we can say that CAG is constitutional body. If you are talking about UPSC, again there are provisions there in articles 312 to 317, all these are related to, we can say, UPSC and state public service commissions. So that's why they are constitutional bodies. Now what is statutory body? As the name suggests, statute is the law enacted by the legislative body of the country or state also. So statutory body means here that particular body is established from the provisions or according to the provisions of law enacted by the parliament. So which law here? In this case, Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. This body was established in 1993 itself under this act, Protection of Human Rights Act 1993. Now NHRC is responsible, or we can say acts as a watchdog for protection of human rights all over India. Watchdog of human rights, apex body for that purpose, we can say. Now composition, a multi-member body consisting of one chairman plus 5 members. So total we can say 6 persons in composition, one chairperson or chairman plus 5 members. Now the qualification here, the chairman should be retired Chief Justice of India or Judge of Supreme Court, and the members should be serving or retired judges of Supreme Court and serving and retired Chief Justice of High Court, and remaining 3 persons, out of which at least one should be women having knowledge or practical experiences with respect to human rights. Okay, so 2 persons from judiciary, 3 others experts. Then in addition, commission also has 7 ex officio members. Now which are these 7 ex officio members? Let me tell you that also. First, chairperson, or we can say chairpersons of following bodies: National Commission for SCs, second, National Commission for STs, scheduled tribes, scheduled caste, National Commission for backward classes, fourth, National Commission for minorities, and fifth, National Commission for women. These are 5. In addition, there is National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, right, and then there is Chief Commissioner for Divyang people, or we can say persons with disabilities. Chief Commissioner for Protection of Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The chairpersons, or we can say heads of these bodies, are ex officio members of NHRC. Ex officio members of NHRC. Fine. After understanding this appointment, they are appointed by the president on recommendation of 6-member committee. Now 6-member committee, again, which are these 6 members of this committee? 6-member committee, appointment committee. That is headed by Prime Minister, head of committee. Second, Speaker of Lok Sabha. Third, Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Fourth, Leader of Opposition. In Lok Sabha. Fifth, Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha. And sixth, we have Union Home Minister. Union Home Minister. So this 6-member committee look into the shortlisted names for the appointment of examination on this information. Now, thousands of Rohingyas protest at Bhashan Char. Yes, protest against living conditions on cyclone prone island of Bangladesh. Now in since December 2020, Bangladesh government has shifted 18,000 out of planned 1 lakh refugees to low-lying silt island of Bhashan Char from Cox's Bazar region. Now location of Bhashan Char island, you can see here location, this is Bangladesh, here we have Northeast India, and then there is Myanmar. Yes, location Chittagong, then Cox's Bazar near Myanmar. So Rohingyas from the Rakhine Valley region of Myanmar, they escaped and entered into Bangladesh, and most of these refugees are concentrated here in the camps of Cox's Bazar, very famous, and now they are being relocated on this Bhashan Char island. This Bhashan Char island is recently forms island, depositional island by the sediments of the Ganga river and Brahmaputra river. Okay, so depositional island, it is also known as Char Pia in Bangladesh, this island. Okay, in Hatia Upazila of Bangladesh. It is located in the Bay of Bengal, about 6 kilometers from Sandweep Island and 60 kilometers from the mainland. It is formed by Himalayan silt in 2006. So it is having a recent origin. Now the concerns associated here for the relocation, human rights violations. Yes, first thing, second thing, you have to understand, this is very much prone to cyclones originating from Bay of Bengal and entering into that coastal area of Bangladesh, and this is very prone for such kind of cyclonic activity, this particular island. That's why the people are protesting here. Along with that, how such 1 lakh refugees will be relocated, rehabilitated without enough resources, this is also one of the concern. What kind of, let's say, resources they will be provided in that island. So all these aspects are important from the men's perspective, ethics perspective, and yes, you need to know the location from geography mapping. Bhashan Char island many a times in news because of resettlement and relocation of Rohingya refugees by Bangladesh government on this island. Okay. Now COVID-19 related developments. Now recently Supreme Court heard the case about the vaccines and its pricing, and the government government claimed that it will inoculate the entire eligible population by 2021, the end of this year. The Supreme Court also challenged the differential vaccine pricing, saying there needs to be one price for vaccination across the nation. Okay. Along with that, Supreme Court highlighted far-fetched of an illiterate villager from rural India crossing digital divide to register for COVID-19 vaccination on CoWIN platform. So digital divide, vaccination policy today is entirely exclusionary of rural areas. This is how the Supreme Court has said to the government. Along with that, our Chief Economic Advisor Subramaniam has said that economic impact of second wave of COVID-19 pandemic may not be very large at this point, but curbing pandemic through swift vaccination and strict COVID-19 protocols is imperative to revive economic activity. Surely in GS3 paper also we are expecting how COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the economic growth prospects of the country. We are expecting such kind of question this year mains also. Okay, so yes, from this aspect you can write the view of our Chief Economic Advisor in your answer. Okay, now yes, practice prelims MCQs. Let me give you half a minute to solve this question. What happens is many times you are not solving these MCQs when I am saying that this download this PDF and all this, but let us try to solve these MCQs in the classroom itself. This will be more helpful for you. Okay, so let us see the statements about NHRC. You have to understand the command here in the question. We have to identify incorrect statements. Okay, the first statement, it consists of chairman and 4 members, NHRC. So it is incorrect. There are 5 members, chairman plus 5 members. So first statement is incorrect. Then the chairman and members hold office for 3 years. This is correct. Or until they attain age of 70 years, this is also correct. So this statement is correct. Salaries and allowances and other conditions of service of chairman and member are determined by central government. This is also correct. So second and third statement is correct. Now if we have not read this command, many times students consider this finding the correct statement and mark this answer 2 and 3. But this is incorrect answer here. Incorrect statement 1 only. The answer should be 1 only. Fine. So such kind of confusion surely happens many times for the first timers who are going to attempt this UPSC prelims examination. You need to be very careful about the command given in the question. Next. Yes, Bhashanchar Island, sometimes seen in news, is located in which of the following country? Yes, you maybe find it easy because yes, surely just now we discussed Bhashanchar Island is located off the coast of Bangladesh. It is located or the territory of Bangladesh. It is depositional island recently formed because of the silt that is brought by the Gangetic Ganga river or Brahmaputra river also, and the part of, we can say, delta of these rivers. Okay, it is formed in 2006, the newly formed island, and it is in news because of relocation of Rohingyas by Bangladesh government. There can be question like, this is sometimes seen in news for which of the following reason? Which of the following reason? So you need to remember the reason also, relocation of Rohingyas, Rohingya refugees in Bangladesh. Okay. Now important captions and quotations. In that Israel-Palestine conflict article, in last paragraph, The writer has written very good statements which can be used by in our essay paper also. It is true that nation state belongs to a group which constituted itself into a nation. Therefore, group's ethos would reflect in national life without it rubbing in it, without it rubbing it in. Okay, then the nation is an imagined community. Nation is an imagined community. As imagination expands, the foundations of the nation become deeper. The foundation of the nation becomes deeper. A very thoughtful statement written here, and therefore this can be used in essay paper, ethics paper also. Try to use such kind of statements in your mains examination answers. Fine? Okay. So, yes, these were important articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Lukman IAS has come up with test series program for ethics paper, polity paper, GS paper overall for 1, 2, 3, 4 and we can say essay paper as well as public administration optional subject. So, those who want to improve their writing skills and prepare for written examination, as there is enough time for prelims examination now, it has been postponed to 10th October. So, to know more about this test series program, you can contact Lukman IAS. Thank you.